is Dr. Nama Samit Rubenstein. I am an oral surgeon and I volunteer in the police in the forensic unit for 15 years. Now, in the past month, we, in the unit, we didn't understand that we would ever need to see the visions that we saw. And we never had, of course, an incident like this. It started at Saturday. They called 4 people from the unit on Saturday night to come to Shua, which is the base, the army base. That's there were all the identifications. And they said that there were about 100 young teenagers, or not young people, I guess, killed from the party. And we had to examine them because they didn't know who was who. It was a big mess. They were collected from the ground, and we had to identify them. And we started, and at about a bit after midnight, they said, listen, there's coming a truck with 150 bodies, 75 kids and 75 adults. So I was about to go home around midnight. Of course, I walked back in, and we called 20 more people, and then there were another 20 people that we drafted for the unit. And originally, we were 26 doctors. We had to draft 50 doctors more to finish it in a month. And we still didn't identify all the bodies because some of them are dust. At the beginning, it was they were shot in the stomach, in the head, in the mouth. Then more burnt bodies came in. They threw something into a room, I guess, and the whole room was burnt, and the bodies were burnt. And after that, the decapitated or beheaded people, children, came in. And I mean, they were brought in, of course, and we had to examine the head. We didn't have the body with them, only the head.
So you just had some heads that were brought into you.
Yeah, some of them were burnt and some of them weren't burnt. We had babies, we had young children, adults, and I don't remember if we had old people, but I mean, it's difficult to say, because they burnt some of them. So, but there are different layers in the head, in the neck, and you go through the skin, and then the muscle, and the fascia, and then the muscle, and then the vessels. And I don't know if there's one instrument that you can actually decapitate someone, or I don't know if there's one, if you can do it with one tool. I think you have to do it in it's different strengths, the different layers. So you have to do it slowly, I guess, layer by layer, and more and more. It's not in one shot. I, it's hard to say, but I guess between 5 to 10.
But it wouldn't be once, as you said. It would take a lot of force and a lot of times.
Yes, yeah. It's not at once. It's 5 or 10 hits, or yeah. It's a pretty terrible way to kill someone or to treat a body that way, or it's really unhuman. I really hope that they were all killed before they were decapitated, because there's a lot of suffering if you do it when someone is alive.
What kind of suffering, if you don't mind me asking?
First of all, the pain of the first hit, just to cut the skin and to cut the muscle, and then you get into the blood vessels, and then you start losing blood. So it can take, I don't know, a minute or two, or maybe more, until someone dies. It's very, it's terrible. Really, it's a terrible way to kill someone.
And of course, some of these heads were young children and babies, and presumably it would be the same sort of situation, that they'd feel that kind of pain. Do you think it would be a quicker death?
With a baby or with an adult?
Yeah.
That's really, it depends how strong the force was that, yes, I guess it's the same. I can't even, I don't know. We never learned about anything like that. We never did anything like that. We never examined anything like that. Even in medical school, nothing, Of course, if it's something sharp, then it's very, you see that it's in one stroke, you see it on the body, but it wasn't something sharp. It was something blunt. And you saw that they tried again and again to cut it off. But we tried not to get into these details. We
Mm.
understand when you check the bodies because, you know, we have our limits also. We just had to check who it was. We saw it because it was so striking the first time that we saw the head come in, you know, when they brought the head in. It was really very shocking. So, yeah. But we didn't, it wasn't a sharp object that they come with. And that's why they had to try it several times. So we saw the burnt bodies came in with a father and a son hugging each other, and they were burnt, or people and babies that their eyes were taken out. I don't know if before or after. You can't know, but I don't know. Um, I didn't check, but I heard of women that were raped. You know, but I didn't check them. I have to say, it's only that I heard from rooms next to me because we were talking. You know, every time we had a break, we were in the room for hours, maybe 12 hours. But we would go inside and out each time the X-ray was done and CT was done. So, you know, we used. It became more and more sophisticated, the checkups that we did there, because it became more and more difficult to identify the bodies. It's hard to say, but I guess around 150 maybe. Yeah, I guess 150. Maybe between 100 and 150, I'd say. You know, when I talk about it, it seems like I'm speaking of a dream. You know?
Yeah, I get it.
It doesn't seem real at all. It doesn't. So the first bodies were the one from the party, and they were so beautiful. The men and the women, well, the boys and the girls, I don't know, whatever. But you know, they were just. I said, and they were still in one piece because they just passed by and shot them. You know, and I said to my friend, look how beautiful this guy is. Look how handsome he is, and look at the girl. And she said to me after two bodies, she said, listen, you can't do it anymore. You have to put a screen down. You don't get attached to the bodies. You won't be able to. We have to finish the work here, you know. So I really barely remember anything. I remember the shock when we got the first head. I We were all, you know, you didn't realize how mean they were at the beginning. It wasn't so bad. I mean, it was bad. Of course, it was terrible, but it got worse and worse as we proceeded, as we, you know, progressed in it, I guess. Um, yeah, and I didn't know anything. I never listened to the news in those 3 weeks. I didn't listen one day to the news, and I'm a news freak. I wake up with the radio. I go to sleep with the radio. I always listen to it. I didn't only music on the radio when I came back after 12 hours. And when I got home, I saw some stupid movie of Netflix. I didn't even know that Biden was in Israel. I didn't know it wasn't, you know. So that's how I guess I managed emotionally to. After a few weeks, it started coming up. When I stopped working there, which was about a week ago, we still work, but we work with the x-rays. We don't work with the bodies anymore. Then you start thinking about it, because when you work so intense, you don't have time to think about it. And but now it's starting to come. It's starting to come to me. And I spoke with a friend of mine that studied with me, who's a psychiatrist, and he called me actually. He said, "Do you want to talk?" I said, "Sure, let's talk." So we talked for about half an hour, and he said, "Listen, you're fine. You're speaking. You say what you feel. You don't keep to yourself. And if the time comes and you'll need some help, go for it." I don't know. There's a girl there that I guess the first one that I saw that she comes back to me, and then burnt bodies and the heads. You know, yeah. It looks like it's not real. You know, it's almost looks like it's a dream. But yeah, it comes back. They're bodies that can't be identified. They're burned to dust, and it's a problem. You can't get DNA out of it. You can't get fingerprints out of it, of course. And maybe teeth with certain, in some of the bodies, there were only teeth left, and then you can try to figure it out if you get the x-rays from before, from the families. There's some bodies that are going to be very, very problematic. And we've been talking with all the world. I mean, forensic units from Europe, from the United States. They're all trying to help. But I think Israel is pretty good in what they do. So we still haven't identified a few, not a few, so I guess 40, 50. I want to say numbers because I'm not sure exactly. It changes every day. And there's some people that were drafted the day of the event. They are maybe 3 days later when we realized how big it's going to be. Because at the beginning, when they said 100 bodies, 200 bodies, we said, okay, we'll be fine, we'll do it. But when it got to 1,000, so even they were fine. They were young, special dentists that are specializing in something specific in Odessa. And they came over and they were really fine. Just the work, when you're there, you don't have time to stop and think or to feel sick or to feel bad or to get attached to your emotions. You don't. You just, you keep on working and you know that the families are waiting outside and they want to know about their loved ones. If they're kidnapped or if they're dead. So that kept us working. No, we didn't get any support, and we're not going to get paid even for a Miluim day. We're not going to get anything. We're volunteers. That's it. But okay, that's the least problem of no. You really no. I haven't seen things like that before, and I volunteered there for 15 years. We've seen things, but this is. Someone said that they took out of the womb of a pregnant lady a baby, but I didn't. Again, I didn't see it. Maybe in one, you don't gossip in the middle and try to find information. You just want to get the work done. You want to get the bodies to be identified, to have a mother and a father. Really. Um, it's I can't even say how those terrorists behave. Where do they get their ideas from? How can someone human behave like that?